So how much more, if you're the Nets, would you be willing to spend to retain Bruce Brown Jr.?
I would be willing to spend up to what DeAndre Jordan is earning right now, presuming that you get him off the cap immediately. So you save that money.
All right, well, I would say let's fix the Nets, but I don't think we need to do much work to fix the Nets because, as far as I know, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden are all going to come back next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully all three guys are healthy and stay healthy moving forward. Joe Harris is also signed. I guess one of their big decisions, if it even is a decision, Spencer Dinwiddie has a $12.3 million player option. I believe he's already said that he's going to decline it.
Oh yeah, he gone.
Do you see any way that the Nets keep him, or is he looking elsewhere?
I'm sure they want to. But I think he's looking at the writing on the wall. How many minutes is he going to get next to Kyrie and James Harden?
And from the Nets' perspective, when you already have $154.2 million on your books next season, that's, I think, close to $20 million over the tax already. Are you really willing to spend however much, 15 to 20 million extra on Dinwiddie, which would put your tax bill into astronomical range?
Yeah.
For, a guy who profiles as like your backup point guard.
Yeah, like for that team, he's projected to be a backup. That's true.
Yeah. Because like Kyrie and Harden are going to split the ball in.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like it's unfortunate that they couldn't have kept him because he's obviously a starting caliber player. Like if they wanted to pivot into something else, they could have used him in a trade. But like that injury just kind of sucked every possibility of that out of the way. I'm also weirded out by just what kind of contract he's gonna get given the injury. Mm-hmm. Like, he's opting out of 12 million. That's okay. Is he going to get 15? Or it seems like maybe on a 2-year deal, sure. Or it seems gonna be willing to lock him in for 4 years. I don't think so.
Yeah, I would guess. Probably, yeah, like a 2-year with a second-year player option probably feels like the right play. And I mean, maybe you do 3.
Yeah, with the third year then being a team option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. If things go south, you're not going to want to be on the hook for that.
No, I mean, obviously you want to get him back to like the 20 plus points and 7 assists and all that, but you have no idea how he's going to look.
Right. I mean, yeah, he's a really good player, and there should be a lot of interest in him around the league.
Right.
What for Brooklyn in particular, and given some of their other needs, I don't think they need to prioritize him.
No, I think they should just to nay him, honestly. But,
I mean, I guess that's an option if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
At this year's trade deadline.
But I just don't think he's interested.
No. You just don't want to be on the hook at the end of the year for that massive tax bill.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not one, like, I am very pro teams spending into the tax. They should, especially if you're the Nets and you have a championship contender. But there is a point where it's just like, I can't even cape for this to happen. I mean, if you're 20 million over, your tax bill is 45 million. If you're 40 million over, it's 160 million.
Right.
So that's where it gets, like, it doesn't sound like a lot. Like, oh yeah, we're already 20 million over. Who cares? 45. If you get to $40 million over the tax line, I don't know. I mean, it just feels like a non-starter for most teams. And I think Brooklyn is probably one of them. Also, they have other guys who they're going to need to re-sign is the problem. Like, if they had their entire team coming back and Dinwiddie is the one guy left that they needed to re-sign, okay, maybe you bite that bullet. But the other big one for them, Bruce Brown Jr., is heading into restricted free agency.
Yes,
they do have bird rights on him, so they can match whatever.
Yeah.
But again, the luxury tax becomes the big impediment to that. So how much more, if you're the Nets, would you be willing to spend to retain Bruce Brown Jr.?
I would be willing to spend up to what DeAndre Jordan is earning right now, presuming that you get him off the cap immediately. So you save that money.
Oh, ship DeAndre elsewhere?
Yeah. And then you basically replace Bruce Brown, wow, with what the contract is of DeAndre Jordan. So that's what's he got left? Like 2 years, roughly 20. So yeah, 10 million a year. I think that seems fair because of the defensive upside. I think there's also a little bit more of an offensive upside that people really are not talking enough about. What I'm concerned about with Bruce Brown is that he'll never really be utilized enough, considering Harden, KD, and Kyrie and all that. So I'm wondering, like, even if you pay him $10 million a year, which I think he's worth, will you get 10 million like worth out of him because you have all those guys who will get so many touches and will have all those responsibilities? I hope so, but I don't know.
You'll get more than you got out of DeAndre Jordan in the playoffs, which was, let me check. Oh, nothing. He did not play a single minute in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that has to... Also, do you think, like, if you went to KD and Kyrie and went, look, we know you're buddies with DA, but like... Or DJ, but it's just time. Like, we need to move him out to pasture. Do you think that they will bark at that?
I would hope so. But, I mean, I think DA has value as a regular season minutes eater. But is he having value at $10 million a year in that role when there are guys like Dwight Howard available at the min?
Right.
No.
Right. And even in the regular season, there are moments when he looks completely done. Yeah.
And I mean, Brooklyn proved throughout the season that they can go elsewhere. Like, I think Nick Claxton is ready for more minutes next year. If they bring back Bruce Brown, they went small ball with him. Blake Griffin and Jeff Green are their other two big free agents. I think both of those guys play an important role as well. It's really just a matter of, can they bring them back at a reasonable price?
And they have Alice Johnson at a good deal for regular season minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so they have options.
They do. Also, I'm just realizing something, Brian. No team in the NBA is going to take on Jordan's contract.
Not without something attached, but...
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The Nets also traded every single thing under the table for James Harden. So, I mean, I guess Landry Shamet they could offer as the sweetener to get off Jordan.
Yeah, but, I mean, Shamet will be a restricted free agent after next year anyway.
Yeah. I
feel bad for Shamet that he will, if that happens, that he'll be on his fourth team.
I know.
I
know. It's a bad... Because he's a good player. It's just like bad luck.
It really is. Like, he's a good shooter. He's even got some playmaking chops. Like, I like him. I think he deserves to be one of those guys, much like with Reggie Jackson, like, I found a home here. Like, he deserves to just get a place where they commit to him and go, you know what? The next 6 years of your career is right here. And yeah, I think I actually know what team that should be. That should be the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, I was going to say OKC.
Interesting. That could work too. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, you want to find a team where you're willing to rent out $10 million in cap space for DeAndre Jordan for the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Take on DJ, then take on Shamet, and then knowing full well that he can, at the very least, be a very solid role player for you moving forward. Yeah, I like it. And he's young. Yeah, that's not bad.
Do you think Brooklyn's going to be able... I mean, it's hard to say because we just don't know the dynamics here, but, like, I would think Blake Griffin in particular, how he played in the playoffs, probably earned himself, not $35 million or whatever he was earning before, but, like, I don't think he's going to have to settle for min deals. Do you think, especially given the way that the playoff run ended for the Nets, that they're going to be able to keep Griffin and Green on min deals or near min deals?
I think Blake Griffin chose the Nets for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for them to not win the championship might be enough ammunition for himself to go, let's run this back.
Yeah.
And he's earned so much money in his career that I don't think it matters all that much to him.
He's still earning, I mean, he had the 21-22 season was also guaranteed on his contract, right? So like, I'm trying to look up how much the Pistons are paying him next year. I think it's
a super high amount of money.
29.7 million, 29.8 million is his debt. Yeah.
And it should be noted something else. And by the way, what I'm about to say, I'm not trying to say the players who earn money away from the court should be inclined to take less. That's not what I'm saying. But Blake Griffin is legitimately a household name. Like, he's in the entertainment industry. I think he has a production company. Like, he is very engaged elsewhere as well. He has several revenue channels. So I don't think necessarily that he's a guy who is lacking for a long-term contract. And I also don't think he's wired that way. He seems to be doing things that he wants to do. So I wouldn't be shocked if he returned on a min. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if you're earning 29.8 from the Pistons,
yeah,
like combine your two salaries and you're still making over $30 million. So yeah, I have a feeling they're able to keep Griffin around on a min deal. And I would guess Jeff Green too, honestly, based on back, he and KD and Harden go back to the OKC days. The Burlingtons are back. So I think the Nets are going to enter next season as the championship favorites, because I think they'll lose Dinwiddie, but I think they keep Griffin, Green, and Brown. Maybe they pick up another center if they ditch DeAndre.
Right.
Like, I know this team went out in the second round this year, but had Harden not gotten hurt, had Kyrie not gotten hurt, I think we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets in the finals right now instead of the very likely the Milwaukee Bucks. So no one should be sleeping on this team in case you're like, oh, well, they're never going to stay healthy. Maybe that's the case, but they are going to go into next year as the championship favorites, I would guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right that they'll go in as favorites, but I also think a full season is a long time, and I get that some of these guys were friends beforehand and all that. That's nice. I also still could see a lot of drama unfolding and like an athletic piece coming out revealing a ton of stuff. That wouldn't surprise me. So, I mean, just for the sheer entertainment value, I'm there. That's fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also rooting against them a little bit for one particular reason. I am a little bit tired of seeing like the big market narrative consistently twirl around, like always New York, Los Angeles, and all of that. There is a part of me now that we're seeing how open the league is and how enjoyable these playoffs have been with Atlanta and Phoenix and Milwaukee, those types of teams. Like, it's fun watching small markets. I like that. I think it's fun to see teams that really have to fight, who can't spend unlimited amounts of money on things. Well, the Bucks notwithstanding, because they pay through the nose for everyone. But I think it's interesting to see how they just suddenly find themselves in an area just by spending smartly instead of just spending from a quantity perspective.
Yeah,